Build a highly profitable real estate machine with explosive, exponential growth that works harder for you than you work for it, while living a life by design. Breakthroughs are all around you, but you don't see them until now. Join Jason Williford here at the Ultimate Real Estate Machine as he converses with highly respected and world-renowned experts from inside and outside the real estate industry. You'll discover proven business, marketing, and sales strategies that transform you into the most trusted, dominant, and influential expert in your market, the preeminent agent. Each episode brings you one step closer to the highly profitable and fulfilling real estate business that you've been longing for. Here's your host, Jason Williford.
I have a really special guest on today. He's the owner and the team leader of the Gusty Gulas Group, aka G3. He's with eXp Realty, he and his team. His team is recognized both nationally and locally as Greater Birmingham, Alabama's #1 team in homes sold since 2012. He's also Zillow and Google's top-rated and most reviewed real estate team in his market. They've sold over 3,100 homes, over $670 million in volume. His team averages 70 times more than an average real estate agent. He's also highly recommended by several local radio stations and former SEC football stars like Greg McElroy and Cole Kubelek. Without further ado, Mr. Gusty Gulas. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, Jason. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Hey, I'm excited to have you on. I've told you before that I absolutely adore Birmingham. I love the city. I've lived there, ran a company out of the area, and I just really enjoyed that area and the people that live there.
Well, we need to have you back soon. It's we've gone through a lot of revitalization over the last 10 years. So there might be some things that you would not even recognize now.
It's been years since I've been there. My favorite barbecue restaurant is Full Moon. So there's a quick plug for Full Moon Barbecue in Birmingham, Alabama. It's close to you.
Pretty delicious, but guess what? I need to introduce you to Saul's Barbecue.
It's even better.
That is one of my favorites. So
I will go on a food barbecue test tour of Birmingham,
let's do it.
Alabama.
Only if I'm invited and we can have, like a rib eating contest.
Oh, I love ribs too. I'm pretty great on the green egg, actually.
Okay.
Well, the green egg does the work,
right.
But I just manage the green egg.
There you go.
Shoot, Mr. Gusty, could you tell us more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously, my name is Gusty Gulas. I'm right here in Birmingham, Alabama, and I'm married to Katie, and we've got 2 kids, Trip and Max. So one's 5.5 and one is 3 years old. And so personally, went to University of Alabama, Roll Tide, graduated there in
Go Dogs.
I know you got us. You got us. We'll give you one. That's about it. But, I tell you what, really ever since college, I've been in real estate or something real estate related. I was in the mortgage business for a couple of years and then found my way into real estate. And luckily, have been successful in the real estate world, built a team up. And, really we're, considered, when people think of Birmingham, Alabama real estate, people think of our team, which is a beautiful thing for us as we continue to grow.
That's wonderful. I've seen some of the biggest homes that I live in Miami Beach. I see big homes everywhere.
Yeah.
But I've seen some of the biggest homes that I've ever seen in my life in Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh yeah. There's, one of the probably top 10 largest homes is in Birmingham, and it was built by Mr. House. And so I call it the House. And I think it really should have probably been like a bed and breakfast. It was kind of like, it just a really stately home over in the Shoal Creek area. And so a lot of times people recognize that as, because it was probably like an $8-9 million home. And if you took that house and put it somewhere else, it'd be like $100 million home.
200 million in Miami.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about building a machine that works harder and harder for you than you work for it. And we all know that it doesn't start out that way. It's something that you're building. And I know that you're still building, and you should always be optimizing the machine. But you did an amazing job last year in 2021. What did you end up with volume and transactions last year?
Yeah, this is been our first year that we closed over 500 homes. So we ended the year at 566 homes for 152 million in volume. So we've been stuck for 3 years in that 400 unit mark, and so we were pretty pumped to get over 500, and now we're on our path to 1,000.
Amazing job. What do you think was the game changer that got you unstuck?
That's a great question.
Which is crazy, isn't it? Hey, I sold on average of 400 homes a year, but I was stuck, and I got unstuck, and I sold 566.
I think a lot of it has to do with we're consistently developing our agents, and we're always trying to get them to the next level. We added more agents, so I think that helped get kind of over that threshold. Our support staff is really the best in the business. We have some of our support staff that have been with us 4, 6, 8 years. And when you get into that kind of consistency, we've got some just amazing staff, amazing leaders. And I tell you, our systems and processes are really good. And even on top of that, we're always trying to get better. So I think when we bring in talent, we want to partner with really good people. We want to get them to wherever they want to go and make sure that their ideals align with ours. And, I think it's just a combination of everything. Zig
Ziglar loves if you help enough people get to where they want to go in life, you're going to get to where you want to go. No
doubt. Yeah. Think about this, like every agent's different. Every agent wants to, meet certain, whether it's unit or volume goals. And I've got people on our team that want to close 5 million, and I got people on our team that want to close 20 million. And the way you coach and mentor them is completely different.
How would you say, how do you coach that agent that's looking to do 5 million versus 20 million?
We just break it down. We break the numbers down, and we just dive into what it's realistically going to take for them to do those numbers. Are they willing to put in the time, effort, consistency, follow up to be able to do those kind of things? And then oftentimes most of them are not. And that's okay. We just got to meet them wherever they're at. So, and I think a lot of times people, they don't realize what they actually can do without being pushed a little bit, without being mentored a little bit. So, oftentimes we'll be 3, 4, 5 months into the year, we're seeing where their numbers are at and just say, look, if you put in just a little bit more, you can hit 10 million this year. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be a little bit cooler than 8 million? That kind of stuff.
That's all. And that is what is amazing. And it's not just about the numbers. Hey, I did. And the deal. It's not just about, hey, I sold X amount of volume in real estate. It's what's amazing is when we change someone's life that not only affects them as a real estate agent, but affects their family, affects their friends. They're able to do more things for the community than they were originally. That's one of the biggest things that I love is just changing someone's life. That's why I do it. Yeah. What made you decide to build a team?
It really just came from excessive leads. My first step was starting out with a part-time assistant and, took off the things that I was not the greatest at, which was paperwork. And so we delegated that. That allowed me to sell more houses. And then it got to the point where I just had, luckily, I was super thankful to have more leads than I could handle. But I grew up in an entrepreneurial business, and both of my parents were entrepreneurs, and I knew that we had to provide a great customer service experience. And so at that point, we had to bring on more talent. And so we brought on our first agent. That worked out really well. And then from that point, we just kind of stair-stepped. And so it's not like we hired 10 people right out of the gate. We hired one, then we hired a couple of more, and then we just kind of stair-stepped. and just grew it that way. But it came from just a need of knowing I wanted to provide an excellent experience and also enjoy coaching and mentoring other agents. And so, I always think that if you're not growing, you're dying. So, that
green and growing or brown and dying.
Yeah. But those are the main reasons: customer service and
being preeminent in the marketplace.
For sure.
To external clients being the client, the home sellers, home buyers, investors, but being preeminent to your internal clients as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you learned that from your parents. What kind of work were they in?
So my dad had at one time 7 different restaurants at the same time, which was quite a juggle. So I grew up in the restaurant business. Luckily, did not pick that. and then
that's
my mom,
crazy industry, I'm sure.
Oh man, you couldn't pay me to own a restaurant. I'll tell you that. And then my mom had an antique store and a consignment shop, and so it was really cool to grow up and learn from 2 of the best. And but they really instilled in me early on that you really got to provide a great experience and great customer service.
Love that. And my grandfather was an entrepreneur as well. And I think is what it comes back most to me is going back to values. And that's a mental model that I have in my mind too, is, just simply doing people right and doing the right thing, and
the goal.
Am I doing things like my grandfather would do in business?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That.
So just always checking myself. What would you go back to if you could go back in time and go back to a brand new team leader? You just started a team. What would you go back and tell yourself to do things differently?
Buy houses.
Buy houses. I love that. Invest more. For sure. Looking at actually being a team leader and working with the agents, I would have created more systems and processes early on so that I would be able to use leverage even more. The machine. Well, hey, I wanted to get into one of the chapters within the book, which are huge marketing mistakes that can cost agents a ton of money. And I'm paraphrasing that. But I want to get into marketing mistake number 2. And there's 29 marketing mistakes that real estate agents make within this chapter. And I want to get into marketing mistake number 2, which is falling victim to doing what the rest of the herd is doing, which is how many agents are in your local market?
I think at this point we're at 4,600 and growing, I think, by the minute.
I seen an article in Real Trends like 2 nights ago, and it said that the amount of real estate agents in the industry is at an all-time high.
Yeah. I know when I was at NAR, we were at like 1.57 million in the United States.
And that's just realtors, right? That's not real estate agents.
Right. Yeah.
Total. Wow. And I was wrong. I thought the number was, the number about a year ago was over 1.4 million. But that's just the part that I had wrong, is I thought that was real estate agents total, not just realtors.
That's right.
And if you don't separate yourself, as I say, separate yourself from the herd, you're going to be a commodity within the industry. What are some things that you do to not fall victim of just being a traditional real estate agent?
Man, I think that's an excellent question. I think you've got to be different so that people will recognize you. Like, first off, I'm pretty lucky. I've got a really weird name. So that's easily recognizable, comparatively speaking. But, I consider myself a student of the industry, and I watch what people do all around the country. And so, I just like to, see what everybody's doing and doing what works. And so, we've been early on to doing radio ads in our market. I've got my own radio show, and it's probably one of the most fun hours of the week that I have. And what I love about that is it's even built some really good relationships.
What's some things that you cover in your radio show?
So we do a local business spotlight, and that's one of our segments. And so we're able to get, find out about new businesses. We've able to have mayors, city council, president of the housing authority. So we've grown it into being not only a real estate show, but really being about Birmingham. And so we'll talk about new restaurants coming out. And so we're really just, really first segment's really about me and my co-hosts, like life and real estate in the mortgage business. Second segment is about local business spotlight. Third segment, we talk about our open houses, our coming soons, our new listings, our buyer needs, our testimonials. And then fourth segment, it just kind of depends on how we're going with the flow. And so talking about, it almost goes back into whoever our guest is for the week. But, I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to do something completely different than everybody else in the market. And we're trying to bring as much attention, not only to us as a brand, but our clients. And we want to get as many people on our website to get maximum exposure for our listings and get them the most money. And that's what separates us from the herd.
Love that, brother. And I love that because what I keep going back to is the number one principle to me in business is the strategy of preeminence. Chapter 4, the preeminent agent being the number one most trusted expert in the marketplace. And that's what you're doing on that TV show, is that you're educating the entire local market on a great medium, obviously radio, and it sets you up as the authoritative expert in the Birmingham area, the number one most trusted go-to agent in the market. I also love how you actually tie into one of the 217 predictable referral strategies that Jay Abraham and I have in Elite Agent Referral Mastery. One of those are expert interviews. And expert interviews, you're building strategic alliances with local business owners. So not only are you just being about Gusty, you're also being about those local business owners. So everybody that you're bringing on that show, when they also, that are authoritative influencers within the market, they also know who their number one go-to agent is.
That's right. That's right. I'll tell you, for example, we're a big health. UAB Health Systems is the biggest employer in the state of Alabama. And so we have a really big health tech emerging out of Birmingham. And so our guest that's going to be on this coming Sunday is building this health tech company. And so he gets into how he's able to help patients, what he's doing to generate funding. And so, we're bringing a spotlight on that local business, which has the ability, potentially one day it could get acquired and could be a multi-$100 million company. And how cool would it be to say, hey, early on, we had him on our radio show.
And it's good forever. It's
no doubt.
It's the content library. It's an asset, your library, whether it be video, audio, which I love video because when you capture the video content, you can repurpose that content any way that you want. So it's pretty much the king of content, video.
Right.
You can transcribe the video, you can get into words, you can strip the audio out of it, you can take a 60-second spot and run that as one of your radio spots, etc. But wonderful job. I wanted to get into marketing mistake number 16, which are all lead sources are created equal. And I know you're kind of past that in your business, being that. Do you even know how much approximately that you have wasted in ineffective marketing through the years when you just didn't know what you didn't know?
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Hundreds
of thousands. Ditto. We did too. And that's probably, you're just talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars that you can track back into this campaign or that campaign not working. But when you put opportunity cost and opportunity cost being, how much is my average gross commission income worth per transaction? Okay, let's say it's $12,000. That's when the number really skyrockets of how much that marketing can lose. And marketing, it's not only the front end marketing, the lead generation piece of it, it's also the conversion piece of it, that if you don't have those conversion mechanisms really dialed in, you can lose a ton of marketing dollar and opportunity expense. So what do you have to say? Was there a point like in your career that you may have thought that, hey, leads are leads and they're about equal? And then was there like a come to Jesus that happened within you, something that triggered that, hey, I really need to track and measure each one of these lead sources and know what's working, what's not working?
Yeah, I think if you read any kind of marketing books or taking any marketing classes, I mean, the rule number one when you're doing advertising is you've got to try it for 6 months. And if you're not willing to try it for 6 months, you don't need to do it. And it's probably more like 12 months, depending on what it is. I mean, when we first started radio, I don't think we had our first phone call until month 4. And then I don't think we had our first closing until month 6. And
the cash conversion cycle.
Woo! I mean, it was a heck of an investment, but it's now we've been doing it for 5 years, and now we're on 4 stations. I mean, really, what you've got to do is, if you're going to do it, you're going to have to commit minimum 6 to 12 months, and then you've got to really look at what's your true return on investment, because there's some things that you can't tell. I mean, some are branding plays, but some of the branding plays have to be, you can give indirect return on investment from those things, but nothing is created equal. There's going to be some things that work, and maybe in 2 years they don't work, or the company finds out that it works and they want more, more bang for their buck and want more money, and things change. But at the end of the day, you've got to, in my opinion, that's what we've done a really good job of, is building our brand. And so you've got to build your brand and then get everything to whatever your command center is, whether it's your website or, part of your sphere marketing campaigns or anything like that. And you've got to be willing to kind of test it, A/B test it. Don't be afraid to try different things, but you've got to commit to at least 6 to 12 months.
Love that. Wonderful response. You mentioned about tracking and reporting. You didn't actually say that, but I could tell by what you were saying that you do track, report, measure your lead sources. And the way I describe it is, if you're not doing that, it's like flying an airplane and not having any instruments. There's just a point of time that you're going to fly the plane right into a mountain, especially if you have some heavy duty to you, whatever that number may be, marketing dollars going into campaigns. So what are some suggestions that you'd like to give as far as tracking, reporting, and measuring lead campaigns?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's, you definitely need to track. I mean, we now listen to every phone call that comes in. And so if it goes, to we don't have ISAs, so our leads go directly to our agents, but we have the ability to listen to those conversations. And so we're able to grade them, and we're able to coach our agents, and so that we can work towards increasing conversion and increasing our return on investment. But at the end of the day, I mean, you've got to track everything. So we know how many closings are coming from different lead sources. We know how many leads that we're sending to title, to insurance, to mortgage.
Tracking it all the way through the funnel.
Yeah.
Tracking everything.
Yeah, you got to.
Love it, brother. And that's one thing I've seen about you you're on my social media, you're on my Facebook, and I see from time to time, not just your business, but also you live a great life. To you, if I'm reading you right, and I think I am, it's not just about business for Gusty. It's about having a rounded life. It may not be a perfectly balanced life, but, and I like to go back to Zig Ziglar's wheel of life, where there's 8 spokes within the wheel, and just 2 of those spokes are business and finances. There's 6 more spokes. There's love, there's family, spirituality, etc. How has building a team that hopefully you don't have to work nowadays 90 hours a week in your business. And I'm probably sure you have done that in the past. Hopefully you're not still doing that. How has your life changed since when you were an independent agent or when you were just starting to build your team?
Now kids changed everything, right?
They do.
So
such a blessing.
Oh, huge blessing. So 5.5 years ago, and I'm looking at a picture of my kids on my wall, but 5.5 years ago we had our oldest, and basically my wife and I had a 6-month game plan for me to really take a step out of the business. So now, and it took a minute, and so I've had to learn how to really hand the baton off on listings and clients and buyers.
Was that hard to do from the get-go to let go?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It was super hard, but I realized that I've got to be real focused, and my job can't necessarily be about focusing on that one listing or that one buyer, because I've got 27 agents, 11 support staff. Well, when you add those people up, they've got spouses, they have kids. So every decision I make, I have to think about, 90, 100 people.
You're disserving. And that's where I think, a lot of us, all of us, including, we're just at a different place now than we were years ago, right? A way to change agents' thinking is that we are actually, by trying to do everything and be everything, we're actually unintentionally disserving everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're focusing all that attention on the listing, we have these 20 agents out there that we're not focusing.
And coach them and mentor them well.
Yeah. And the same thing for the client.
So we'll come back and let me kind of circle around that loop. But, now I'm usually home by 6 p.m. I'm at home on the weekends. And one of the big things I wanted to do was try to remove agent burnout. And I think agents get, especially in a market like this where, you got to drop everything. So what we created about 3-4 years ago is we have on-call weekends. And so our agents trade one weekend of showing for all of our team members to get 3 weekends off.
I love that.
So in essence, we become showing agents. And if one of the clients wants to make an offer, then the agent in charge will write the offer and handle everything. But that gives people some time off to be with kids, be with family, do laundry, go on vacation, and have a life.
Which goes back to that white glove experience, not just for your agents, but for the clients too, because then you got an agent that's just charged and they're ready to rock, and they have some downtime, they have some family time, they're more happy, they're less stressed out, they're less frustrated, et cetera. So I love what you did there. Wonderful idea.
Yeah. What's
your favorite part of doing what you do for your team, clients, and community? What makes it fun for you?
I like seeing others succeed. I feel like, luckily I feel like I've made it in the business, and so now it's really about bringing other people on. So, I feel like I've gone through the ego stage and I've shed the ego. And so now it's about other people. And, I think when you're a parent, things do change. And so it's about helping other people and growing others. And I think that's, a lot of it did change by being a parent. So I love coaching people. I love mentoring people, and I love celebrating everybody's success.
Love it.
And even if they're not on my team, I still like celebrating other success. At the end of the day, there's enough business to go around.
Life gives to the givers and takes from the takers, period.
Yeah. And takers don't work on our team. I'll tell you that. You've got to be a team player. You've got to be a giver. And the ones that have tried to come on our team that it was all about them just never work out.
I got 2 last questions. First question, how do you know immediately, even in maybe the interviewing process, that someone's probably not going to be a fit for your team, or they're definitely not going to be a fit?
They don't listen in the interview. I think in an interview, you need to talk about yourself, right? But we try to ask tough questions where we want to learn about them personally. What we have found is if we can really get to know somebody deep personally, and we can help coach them on a personal level, then we can have them the best for their professional level. So I'm looking for people that are team players. Do they play in a team sport growing up? Mm-hmm. I'll look at their language. Are they talking about I, or are they talking about we? And then I try to test them during the process and seeing if they're truly realistic. Sometimes, and some people just don't interview well. So I'm probably the person that likes to give more people an opportunity than they probably deserve. But
me too. To a fault sometimes.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But yeah, I'm looking for good people. This is what it really boils down to.
Good humans. I'm trying to remember, it was in a book, and it may even be the title, Humble, Hungry, and Smart. And they don't have to be a rocket scientist, but have, good common sense, obviously.
I don't really want a rocket scientist for real estate.
Heck no. In a sales environment, over analytical is not good.
Right.
And super duper, like 1,000% logical, not good either.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, what does the future for the Gusty Gulas group look like?
Yeah, man, we've had a goal to close 1,000 homes since 2017. And so we're making process, and we're chipping away at that tree. And so 1,000 homes is really where we're geared for. And who knows what's going to happen after that? I'm really working on just making impact in people's lives. And one of my long-term goals is to work on affordable housing and help end homelessness.
Love it.
Those are a couple of things that I'm working on, but the team will continue to grow. And, I think, again, if you're not growing, you're dying. So let's stay in growth mode.
I love it. And that's one thing that changed for me when I was sick in the hospital, almost died in late 2020. And my personal mission statement changed, and it became really simple that while I'm here on earth, my mission is to positively impact 10 million or more lives while I'm here. Directly or indirectly, just being that, hey, if I did, just theoretically speaking, if I said something to Gusty and Gusty went out and didn't even mention my name and didn't even know it resonated, that it came directly from me, and he went out and impacted 1 million lives, I just got 1 million lives in my mission.
But can I challenge you on that?
Yes, please.
How do you quantify that?
I can't. Or I can, but as far as actually, and I've thought about that, like, how do I track that? And that's a hard number to track on that. You and I both being trackers. Mm-hmm. And yes, I think about crazy stuff like that. And that is like how do I track and measure that? Mm-hmm. Be tough to track and measure, but obviously being on big stages, will help me get closer to tracking that.
I like it.
Agents on Fire TV show. It's going to be releasing the first episode in approximately 2 weeks or so, 10 to 14 days. That's a great platform. I have Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank on there, Jay Abraham, Michael Burnoff, Ben Gay III. He was Napoleon Hill's last protege. His book, The Closer, sold like over 12 million copies. So, wow. Getting on more stages, hopefully the book impacts more lives. That's one way to track that, I guess, by how many, sales and how many people, which is hard to track that, how many people bought it and then how many people read it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right.
So how do you track that, So, yeah. But hey, I do appreciate you, and I love what you're doing. For agents that are listening that may have referrals in the Birmingham market, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, easiest way, I just tell people follow me on social media, Instagram or Facebook, and reach out to us through our website, gustygulasgroup.com, and we'll take great care of their referrals.
Love it, brother.
That's it for this episode of The Ultimate Real Estate Machine. May your real estate machine be extremely rewarding, fulfilling, and life-changing for you and all the people that you impact. Claim those skyrocketing results that you demand from your real estate business. Subscribe to the show for more content like this at ultimaterealestatemachine.thepodcast.com. And don't forget to leave a positive rating. Thank you for joining us. See you on the next episode.